Hey guys, Planet Everything here, and today we are going to be talking about the new Mavic Air 2. Trying to merge the previous Mavic Pro series, which is the Mavic Pro, Mavic Pro Platinum, and then the other weird color Mavic Pros. The Mavic Pro Platinum merges in quite nicely with the Mavic Air 2. So the Mavic Air 2 has the same sensor size and the same basically everything, with the exception of a 4-minute difference in flight time. That is a significant difference. That's 4 more minutes you can get out of flying, but you're still not getting 34 minutes out of flying. You're definitely getting a lot of time, especially in comparison to a lot of drones. But in this case, in the case of the Mavic Air, there's not going to be this increased difference between drones like we've seen before. Like in this drone, you can shoot 4K. Yes. Should you shoot 4K? The thing is that this drone has really good specs when it drops down from 4K. So there's a reason you wouldn't shoot in 4K. So when you move down, I don't remember the exact numbers, but it can shoot 240 at like either 2.7 or 1080. I think it's actually 2.7, which is really good. A drone shot that is in slow motion is one that used to be very highly priced. We weren't used to being able to have that shot on a normal drone. Like even my Phantom 4 Pro cannot do that shot, even though that is a far better sensor camera drone in general. And the Mavic Air is the new hobby entry level drone. You can go out, take some really cool shots with this thing. It is a nice sensor. It's not an upgraded sensor in any means, but maybe to the Mavic Air series, but in any means the sensor itself is standard and something we've seen before. And I personally haven't gone to fly this drone, but I will also tell you the Mavic Pro Platinum that is in this bag has very similar specs. It's a little more expensive, I think, but this drone has a tiny sensor, and it's not even quite about the sensor size. It's a lot more about the aperture or focal length you can get out of it. With this drone, it's nothing. Look at that. That is an aperture. It's a very small aperture. You're not gonna get much out of that camera without jacking the ISO up to like 1600 on a sunny day, which is unfortunate. But with a smaller sensor size, they make the camera size itself a lot smaller so that you can fit other things. You can fit a smaller gimbal in there, and maybe save a little bit of money on the amount of weight, all that kind of thing, and thus make a higher profit. But the drone itself is very similar in comparison. This drone, the Mavic Pro Platinum, does not have the sensors on the back that the new one does. It also probably as well, I don't know for sure, but this Platinum does not have the capabilities that the Mavic Air 2 will have as far as it goes with tracking, because tracking is something that is a lot more innovation in technology rather than camera. The only difference you would see in tracking, you'd see a difference in tracking between the two drones no matter what, but the only difference that nicer, newer drones have that are the same level, just different size of sensors and different costs, obviously. The Mavic, we'll go with the Mavic Pro 2, is a 1-inch Hasselblad sensor, and it's the same sensor size as the Sony A7R II, which is crazy good. Anyway, the Mavic Air 2 has a 1/2.4-inch sensor that is it's obviously a lot smaller. The only difference you're going to see in tracking between these two drones is when you have it in low light, because that larger sensor is also going to give you that option to have a larger aperture. They're already going to give you a great aperture for that camera. You're going to be able to run at a lower ISO in lower light than at a higher ISO, then you would have a higher ISO with the Mavic Air 2 in higher light. So the big difference would be low light performance in both of these drones. And let's be honest, how many sunset shots on average, just scrolling through Instagram, well maybe not you guys, but for me personally, how many sunset shots I see scrolling through Instagram, going on YouTube videos that are somewhat cinematic, I see hundreds of sunset shots shot with drones, and it's just like, wow, such original to say the least. And you're like, no, it's not. However, these drones that are really nice and higher quality also offer a nicer sunset shot. This drone will not. This drone will offer a better, more inexpensive solution to going out and taking a daily driver drone out and then just using it to its fullest potential. And an amateur entry-level drone, such as the Mavic Air 2, is going to have that smaller sensor. But if you're not horrible at using it, if you're not bad at understanding how the camera works, you can get just as good of a picture that someone who just bought a Mavic Pro 2, who doesn't know what they're doing, will get out of that drone. So you will get a better picture out of the Mavic Air 2 if you know how to use that camera. Now, that means that you're going to be shooting at different ISO speeds than what are maybe automatic, different ISO, different shutter. I don't know if you're able to change the actual aperture. I think you are. I think you're able to change the aperture of that sensor. If you're able to understand all the numbers, the ISO, the aperture, the white balance, if you're able to change all of those in a way that is somewhat experienced, then you will get a better picture out of it than somebody who's using a Mavic Pro 2 and has never touched a drone in their life. Obviously, you would think that would be obvious, but if you've ever touched a Mavic Pro 2, that thing flies. That is very true. You click the record button on it, and it actually is a drone that would be difficult to crash into a wall, and it is a drone that it has ridiculous low light capabilities. I've filmed my car moving at night going like 30 miles an hour in a hilly terrain, and it caught up with no problem. Anyway, the actual cameras are going to show the biggest differences in low light conditions, because no matter how good you are at using a camera, you're not going to be able to get a better picture out of a smaller aperture, or out of a larger aperture than you will out of a smaller aperture, even if one's in manual and the other's on automatic. This one's the one with a higher a lower capable aperture is gonna be outperforming of the higher number aperture any day, and that's only in low light conditions, and you can definitely prove me wrong in certain situations. However, past sunset, where the sun is not physically on the horizon anywhere, you won't be getting as good of a shot with the Mavic Air 2 as you would with the Mavic Pro. Obviously, there's a huge price difference. This thing's like $800, and in comparison, that's a steal to the Mavic Pro 2. However, you're getting a lot more out of the Mavic Pro 2, and the Mavic Air isn't quite. It's a lot better for people who know how to use a camera, like I said. And although it is their amateur entry-level drone, it's probably also one of the more difficult ones to get a great shot of. Because if you've seen somebody like Peter McKinnon's video or DJI's video, yes, those shots were actually filmed on the Mavic Air. But you will, depending on who you are, likely not to get a shot even close to that. Now, you can take great pictures, you can take 8K hyperlapses, and as cool as that is, it's not as big of a deal as it sounds. Now, the only DSLR camera that can do that right now is a D850, which is really expensive. 8K time-lapse is a big deal, but like I said, 8K only means so much when you have a certain light level. So if you have an 8K, it's gonna be probably cropped in a little bit. I don't really know. I don't know enough about the drone to comment to the video quality off the rack of the 8K time-lapse feature, hyper time-lapse something or other feature. But yeah, that's my take on this new drone in comparison to the Mavic Pro 2, right? I don't know the names anymore. There's a lot of them. There's the Mavic Pro, Mavic Platinum, there's Mavic Pro 2, there's Mavic Air, and Mavic Air 2. That's only the Mavic series. There's the Phantom 2, and then Pro 2, and Pro. Those are all of the Phantom editions. And I have said a few negative things about this Mavic Air 2. That controller is something. That is so nice because, okay, I can't stress this enough. I know this seems small, but it's a huge inconvenience. So if you stuff your phone into this spot right here, you're gonna have that ambient light sensor covered up by this edge here. This little flimsy edge here is gonna cover up your ambient light sensor. Now, that means that you're gonna be out on a sunny day and your phone's gonna say, oh, we're in like a dark room. Like, you can turn down the brightness, save a little bit of battery. That happens to me every single time. And then when it does eventually lower down the brightness to basically nothing and you can't see, you go squinting up to your phone and you try to swipe from the corner, but you can't. I don't know. It's a huge problem I have with this drone, and it's not actually like monumental, but having the phone holder on top here is gonna be nice. That's definitely a feature that a lot of people are gonna turn to this drone for solely, because if you're choosing between a Mavic Pro Platinum and a Mavic Air 2, that's a reason that it's better than this Mavic Pro 2 or Mavic Pro Platinum. It's also got a little bit different overall of a setup for the controller. It's got built-in antennas, so you're not entering into this controversial world of which antenna placement is the best, because they rotate too much and there's just too many options. So that's basically it. That's my take on this drone on every aspect of it, and in comparison to all the other Mavic series drones. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and also please share with your friends, because, you know, sharing is caring.